Manny Pacquiao has one more fight on his contract with PBC. I think if he had it his way, it would be Floyd Mayweather.
Welcome back again to the Spartan Boxing Break. We got Corling, Joey, and Dave here to talk about boxing today. We have a couple of people we want to talk about. But before that, let's boys say hi to everybody.
What's up, boys and girls?
What's up, y'all?
That's right. So I wanted to talk today about a couple of things related to contracts in boxing. Something that...
Because someone just signed their contract.
Yeah. Something
Congrats.
very interesting. I was listening to the Chris Mannys podcast, which I'm subscribed to on Spotify, and he was interviewing Shawn Porter before his fight against Spence, Errol Spence. And towards the end of the podcast, he kind of lets out something to the essence of that Manny Pacquiao had one fight left with PBC in his contract, and that he didn't know if any of the fights with Spence or with himself and Manny would happen. If Manny had a choice, he would guess that it would be to fight Mayweather. I don't know how true this is or not, but it almost sounds like he's on the inside with that, especially knowing that he is working with the PBC, doing his PBC shows and aside from boxing. So, what do you guys think about that?
Isn't that what you predicted, that Pacquiao's next fight would be Mayweather?
That was my prediction, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it could be true. It could also mean that he had to fulfill a PBC contract before getting offered a Floyd Mayweather fight. So
that's why I said go out, take your Berto. You don't have to fight a guy with no fights like McGregor. Take the Berto route and go knock out Amir Khan. It sucks because you would have to give Amir Khan money and you'd be putting money in his pocket. But it'd be nice to see him get knocked out. And I think Manny could do it because he will catch Amir Khan.
My prediction was that Manny was not going to end up fighting Errol Spence. I did not see this as a welterweight killer tournament.
Well, Freddie's kind of steering him away from him and Bud.
Right.
And I think it's smart. I don't think Manny could compete with either one of those at his age now. 5 years ago.
What would y'all do if you were Manny? You'd take the money, right? I mean,
Manny's going to get paid. Manny's going to be getting paid no matter who.
Yeah, he'll get paid, but comparatively, what are you taking? You're taking the Floyd fight as much as we don't want it. You're taking the Floyd fight. I would much rather fight Floyd when you've been in the ring with him. You know what to expect. You know the looks. You know the angles. You know Floyd's age and activity.
That all depends if Floyd wants to fight.
Yeah, I mean, we've never known Floyd to run from a payday. Never. We've never seen that. The thing is that these other guys too, you got Errol, you got Porter.
Floyd was never 42 years old before, and he was, so.
But at the same time, these dudes are hungry. It seems like they're trying to make a name off of Manny. You know what I want? I want the winner of Spence and Porter to fight Pacquiao. I don't think it's going to happen though. I mean, the logical choice for Manny would be to fight Floyd. I mean, you're talking about one fight left on a contract. I mean, why not fight Floyd and retire?
What if?
He's not gonna get hurt? We know that.
But there's no guarantee. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you that his path is not to Spence. It may happen. I mean, Manny's got balls. Just to fight Thurman alone takes balls at 40 years old. But it's highly unlikely. So, do you guys think that this is going to draw Floyd out? Do you believe they're contractually bound under the PBC to take a fight? Because Mayweather's not really with the PBC. Mayweather is Mayweather Promotions.
Porter didn't disclose like that was part of the contract, right?
No, he did not. He just said
we don't
right.
We don't know if Manny will re-up.
But he did say that Manny had one fight left on his contract with the PBC, and if he were Manny, he would want to take the fight with Floyd.
Manny could sign an extension. And let me ask you a question. Let's say he's not signing an extension. What's Manny's next best payday? Other than Floyd?
Errol. Easy. Errol. On that side.
On that side, yeah, Errol. So it's either Errol Spence or Shawn Porter if he beats Errol Spence.
You know, that doesn't have the cachet. To be honest with you,
be honest with us because we've been hearing a lot from you about Shawn Porter being a welterweight killer and his greatness.
I love Shawn, but if I was Manny, I would definitely not fight Errol, but I would definitely not fight Shawn. You know, think about how much the party is ruined all across the board if Shawn beats Errol. I would feel bad that
Manny's beat him up so much in sparring that he would have to beat him up in a real fight.
Yeah, but it wouldn't happen. But that's another podcast. So that's another podcast. But I mean, you know, if you think about it, that would really throw a monkey wrench in the whole operation. I mean, I would love for it to be cookie cutter and Manny just fights Errol next, and then that's it. But I don't
want Porter to win. I don't want Porter to win for one reason. Because that means you would have been right about that he was actually good. Because I think he's garbage.
I like Porter. I like Porter. I like what he brings. He is always in shape. He's always committed to his fights. He doesn't care what games are played around him.
Right.
You know, in some fights they wouldn't even disclose the weight they were fighting at till 2 days before the fight. Stupid things like that.
Broner.
Yeah,
Adrian Broner.
Stupid issues like that shouldn't happen in boxing. But that's a whole nother separate podcast.
Right. Right.
But
speaking of PBC fighters.
Oh boy,
with contracts, there was another guy that had a contract, a rematch. A certain heavyweight with
Andy
3
Ruiz,
belts,
baby. Andy Ruiz, baby.
Yeah, you know, Andy Ruiz was given a shot. He was given a shot because of a situation where the boxer, the opponent for Anthony Joshua, failed multiple drug tests, like 3 of them. This is crazy, but he was thrown into a situation where basically he was just taking a blind shot in the air, and he was able. We were at the fight. We saw the fight. It was amazing. It was fantastic. But in order to get that fight, he had to sign a rematch clause that basically was ironclad into drawing him into a fight, into a rematch with Anthony Joshua, regardless of the outcome. Yeah, obviously, AJ would have had the option to fight him again if he wanted to, even if AJ won. But Ruiz was contractually bound to fight AJ in a rematch if Ruiz won. So once he wins, he comes back, and now he's putting ifs, ands, or buts. He's the man in charge. He's on the driver's seat, and he wants to dictate to really who's the A side here. The A side is Anthony Joshua, regardless if he lost. He's the one with the drawing power in this fight, in this division right now. So, and it took basically a lawsuit to get him to come to the table and say, okay, we agree. That's just kind of disappointing because he gets the shot knowing the conditions. You know what the conditions are when you get the shot. And then he starts backpedaling after he wins. So,
well, he got more money out of it. You know, like my boy, he just held out, and all of a sudden he got, you know, one of the biggest. Now Ruiz didn't, you know, he got an extra $2 million. He's still fighting with They Want to Fight. I wouldn't trust it. I didn't blame him when he said he didn't trust it. But you sign a contract. There's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, I understand the whole situation.
Look, he's going to wind up at the end of the day, 2 fights with Joshua. He beat him once. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. He's got more belts than Wilder. And he made $16 million.
Well, you know, the one thing that I have to say about that, I'm on Andy Ruiz's side with this, naturally, of course. But he did parlay this into more money. Yeah, I know, right? But he parlayed this into more money. And a lot of people don't know, and boxing is an international sport, but it seems that when you're on the other side of the pond, a lot of people were saying a contract is a contract and you have to honor it. Look, here in America, people breach contracts and they say F contracts all the time. All the time. And you're always renegotiating, especially if you're highly coveted or if you've become a certain status. A contract almost means nothing. One example, and I know you don't watch football, Dash, but this dude, the jersey that he was wearing earlier, he renegotiated a contract that he was bound to for another 2 years. This happens in America. This happens in other sports all the time.
Usually guys will hold out with 1 year left, like if they're in their final year. He did it with 2 years left, and he ended up getting 6 years on top of the 2 years he already had. You know, he parlayed it into an 8-year contract.
Maybe it's posturing. Maybe it's wanting to get more money. But when you start saying things that are just counterproductive,
Zeke also had a lot more clout. He had a lot more leverage in this situation than Andy Ruiz did too.
But when you
can make the argument.
When you start saying counterproductive things like, "Oh, I'll just drop the belts," then what was the point of even taking the fight to begin with?
At the same time,
and not only that, if you drop the fights, then where does that put you? It puts you nowhere. You have an opportunity to make another $9, $10, $12 million fighting Anthony Joshua that you're not going to make fighting anybody else. He's not going to make. There's nobody in the heavyweight division that Andy Ruiz can fight right now that will get him that kind of money, in my opinion.
Right.
Not even Wilder. Right. Not even Wilder.
You're probably right. I mean, maybe him and Wilder will be a pay-per-view fight, and based on the number of buys, you get money off the back end, and then that's it. But at the same time, he did still parlay this into
that
more
dirty
money.
back end money you're always talking about.
That dirty back end money, you gotta love it. The bonuses and incentives. But the one thing that I know, if
you want to count eyes on the app, I want you to find a way to count the dirty money under the table with the back end. It works both ways, buddy.
It does work both ways. But see, the thing is, though, the one thing that I do want to say with Andy Ruiz, and maybe when he heard that the fight was going to be in Saudi Arabia, I know that put up my antennas right there. Saudi Arabia, to me, that is a questionable location for various reasons, right? I just don't know how that's going to pan out. Maybe he's trying to get more money out of that situation just because of the venue and the set.
He got his $2 million.
He got his $2 million.
He had to go through with the contract. He was going to get sued, so at least he got more money out of it. I mean, look, he can be unhappy with Eddie Hearn, but he doesn't fight for Eddie. He's getting paid from them, but Eddie's got other problems like Callum Smith.
The guy that does fight for Eddie is Callum Smith.
That are unhappy with him, and you look through the super middleweight division. Now Billy Joe Saunders is there, right? He's up at super middleweight. We read an article a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I think it was, where we read that Daniel Jacobs moved up in weight. Now and they're all on the zone.
They're all on the zone.
How does Eddie not have a fight for Callum Smith? How?
And here's the problem.
Billy Joe Saunders is not fighting anybody.
Callum Smith won a tournament. He should be the shining star.
No fight sign. Billy Joe Saunders, no fight sign.
None.
And Jacob just lost to Canelo, and now he's a super middleweight. But guess what? This is 4 months later. This is time let's time to get the pen out and let's try to ink something and get me a fight for November or December later in the year.
You make him happy.
There's no excuse to not have a fight for Callum Smith.
Here's the thing I want to say though.
Go ahead.
He went through a tournament. Callum Smith did. His last tournament fight was in September of last year. He had already a fight this year in June That was just
Yep.
3 months ago. So
Yep.
I don't know if his complaining is well founded or not, because like Joey said, they just got Billy Joe Saunders, who I believe is a fantastic boxer. His only problem, I think, is his dedication, but he is a very good boxer. You also have Danny Jacobs, who moved up into the division. So there's fights for Callum Smith, but where else can he go and get fights at 160?
I would say Rocky Fielding, but he already knocked him out in the first round. So
I mean, where can he go? Where can he go if he goes with Frank Warren? Who does Frank Warren have for him that can give him a good fight, a good challenge, and make him go up in name, in class? It's just.
Didn't Corling say he was talking to the PBC?
Talking to Al. Come on over, Callum Smith.
I mean, who's he gonna fight? Chris Eubank Jr. at 168?
Chris Eubank.
Is that who Frank Warren has?
Caleb Plant.
You know?
No, but the thing is that remember that doesn't Al have that deal with is it IFL or is it the other? Whatever. He has he has that deal with not Sky but with BTV, right?
BT Sports.
BT Sports.
BT Sports. So he has that deal over there.
Right.
So he can still go ahead. He can fight in this country. He can get a Chris Eubank fight. He can get he can go all the way over, fight Truex, fight Benavidez, fight either one of the Durrells. He can fight Caleb Plant. I mean, it's a lot of fighters over on that Al Heyman side.
I like the Callum Smith Caleb Plant fight. I like that.
Yeah. I'd like to see Caleb with a lot of guys.
But there's fights there, and that's the thing. You always want to talk about people being busy. Why would you want to go over there? Why are you over here? I mean, look, if he comes over to Al Heyman, he's not ducking any smoke. Those are some real dudes that are over there.
Well,
I mean, like Billy Joe Saunders, and then what? Billy Joe Saunders.
Billy Joe Saunders. He's got Danny Jacobs.
Yeah.
He could very well. There was talk before about Canelo fighting him or Golovkin fighting him.
Canelo's not fighting that boy.
Is Jacobs better than Chris Eubank? By far.
Jacob.
So
Danny Jacobs is much better than Chris
Eubank.
Danny Jacobs is more accomplished.
So we know he's better, and you're just telling me right now that Jacobs is better.
Billy Joe Saunders threw a schooling on Chris Eubank. It was a schooling.
That's a long time ago, though, man.
But
that's a long time ago. Billy Joe can box. He can. That's one of the ones.
You might not like there's a lot of people you could easily say I don't like him for this reason or that reason or whatever. He can box. You can't take it away from him.
He can definitely box.
Billy Joe Saunders' problem is that he is basically a broner in a lot of respects. We were talking about this before, Joey and I. He is basically he is a traveler. He is a gypsy, and when you don't have anything and you get something, what do? You throw a party, which a lot of these guys do when they're from the other spectrum of society. So
what do you do if you're Callum Smith? What's your move?
I entertain as much as I can, and I see where the most fights are, because ultimately the most fights are the most paydays, right? The most fights are the most paydays. And, we see where we can go from there. Now, on one hand, or on the other hand, though, Callum Smith isn't really a known name like that. And see, that's another thing to me, because the Ali Trophy should mean something, because he won a tournament. But you're starting to see how the Ali Trophy doesn't mean as much, but that's another story altogether. You shop around. You see who's going to give you the most money for your labor, and you go from there. I'm not telling him to go anywhere.
I'd put a little more pressure on Eddie, and seeing that, all right, he fought June 1st. He fought on at the Garden on the undercard.
On the AJ Ruiz undercard. Yep.
So you fought 3 months ago. It's been 3 months, and you figured this is the time. And we heard about this, maybe a week or two ago. He's starting to put a little pressure on Eddie. I would keep that up. Because you got guys there. Billy Joe Saunders is going to need a fight too. He hasn't fought since, let's see. He fought in May. See, the timeline works out perfect because Billy Joe fought in May.
It does.
And he fought in June. They were only 2 weeks apart.
But see, the one thing that I have to say about that, though, with Callum Smith, number one, on June the 1st, all of those favorites, AJ went down. Remember Katie Taylor? She was in a tough fight. Callum Smith is the only dude who did what he had to do. And he's the only dude that actually rose like the cream, man. He did exactly what he had to do. He looked like an Ali trophy holder. So that's the thing. Billy Joe Saunders, that fight needs to be built up. I know you want to make that into an event. Callum Smith needs to go where they give him the most money and where he has the most fights and where he's going to get cash and big fights immediately.
But you're speaking in this era of.
You don't have time to wait on Billy Joe Saunders. You don't have time. You won't see what I'm saying.
You're not. What are you worried about selling the fight out? That fight will sell out the arena.
No. What I'm saying is that Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders is a domestic clash that can be a big fight if built properly. But you can't depend on Billy Joe Saunders to do what he has to do on his end of the bargain. So I'm saying, it's going to
be a big fight.
Let me throw a twist into this.
I don't think you're going to get that. I don't think you're going to get the attraction here anyway. So you might as well make it.
Let me throw a twist into this.
Yep.
What happens if Callum Smith goes the ESPN side with Frank Warren and Top Rank and moves up to 175 because Callum Smith is a big 160.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude.
And you got a lot
then
of guys
you have Vosdik, you have Kovalev, Beterbiev, Elder Alvarez, Alberto Ramirez. You have all these guys, Jesse Hart. That division is loaded right now. It is packed. And I all the guys that I mentioned right now are with ESPN, the ESPN conglomerate, whether it's Main Events, Top Rank, Frank Warren, whoever it is, they're all fighting on ESPN. That would make a lot of sense.
Tough fight with Joe Smith Jr.
Who?
A nice tough fight with Joe Smith Jr.
Yeah, there you go.
But you know what's actually funny about that now that you just said that, and what I just thought about, ESPN also is a little bit more friendly as opposed to Al Heyman, right? It's a little bit more friendly to that foreign product and pushing that foreign. Are
you saying Al Heyman's not friendly? Is that what you're telling us?
I'm saying what I'm saying.
Some people are gonna hate on you on this podcast, bro.
No. I was trying to keep things in house. He doesn't want to recognize the WBO. So they throw a garbage fight. Now this isn't signed yet. This isn't a done deal. I just want to know.
Come on.
If this fight happens,
come on.
How the fuck?
Come on.
Jamal Charlo accept the fight.
Time out.
Hogan.
Hold on.
Coming off a loss at a lower weight class. You're gonna drag him up.
Wait up, Joey.
What's the cry about? Or you dragged what?
Joey, hold on. I'm gonna stop the video. And that concludes this episode of the Spartan Boxing Break. Don't forget to join us for part 2 of this conversation coming up. And also, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and share our video. See you soon.